Hi guys, it's Livia here. In this video I'm going to show you how I created the painting The Florist. We are going to talk about color, value relationships, texture, edges and more. So if you'd like to see that, stay tuned. So I quite like to start with a colored background using acrylic color. Just put a few colors there, like burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, neil ochre, and I made the paint a bit watery and spread it out, and worked with a wet wipe just to remove some of it. Now I'm going to use ultramarine blue, olive green, lemon yellow, brilliant orange, alizarin crimson and titanium white. I'm gonna mix orange and crimson first, then add a bit of blue. Then I'll put some of the color aside, and we'll mix lighter tones of it by adding more white and a little bit of yellow as well, as I shift the colors towards the lighter values. It just makes the color a little bit warmer when I add yellow. So I'm going to add a bit of liquid original just to improve the flow of the paint, and also to make my color dry a little bit faster. So now I'm blocking in the bigger shapes on the face. So I can see that face divided into two bigger masses, two bigger blocks, which is the shadow on the jaw, neck, chin area, and the light on the cheekbone, and the forehead, and the nose, the side of the nose. So we've got now a couple of shapes. It looks quite weird, doesn't it? So we've got two big blocks. Now I'm going to start reshaping some of those areas, in trying to get a little bit more of the head planes sorted. So I've got the eye socket area kind of established. Then I'm working with gradual tones just to get a little bit more form and more truth on the face. I'm always saving the small details to do last. And then I kind of layering, on top of that base structure, base foundation color, to create some highlights and to give me a little bit more form here. So I'm using a small brush at the moment. It's a flat brush, a synthetic flat brush, size 2, considering that my canvas is quite small. And yeah, so I'm starting blocking in the hair just to get some contrast with the face. Notice that I'm using, part of the skin color and changing the colors into a darker version, a bit cooler as well. So I bring the big blocks and a bit of the, the hairdo, the way that the hair is overlapping her face. Trying to follow the same principle, bringing big blocks of color, not bringing all the shades, that I see at the moment, but usually something in the middle, like a dark value, not the darkest yet, and also some mid values, so I can achieve a little bit of form and have a good base, good foundation to bring my lightest lights and my darkest darks. Cool. So now I'm ready to start bringing some colors on the background. So still I've got lots to do on the hair and on the face, but I kind of need a little bit of color to happen around it, so that it will give me contrast and also establish some value relationships. So I quite like using the hog bristle brush soften my edges and create a lost edge around the hair. So now I'm ready to bring some lights here. So they'll just give a little bit more form and try to keep my brush strokes quite loose, you know, without blending much. I just blend the colors as I go with the same brush. I quite like exploring this fresh and loose approach. Right, so let's start mixing more colors for the background. So I'm mixing a combination of blue. I just got a bit of phthalo blue because I want a more punchy green. So I added yellow and a touch of red just to make it a bit warmer. Then mixing some pinks and purples using primary magenta and which is the My Mary Pure magenta, and also some quinacridone magenta. They are quite different. So I've got a few shades of green here, and I'll get back to the background, just work with the palette knife. I like exploring texture on my paintings, so that's why I'm using the palette knife. It just gives me a little bit more challenge, and I can explore color in another dimension. So as I said, I like the loose approach, so I'm not worried about copying the flowers exactly the way they're seen on my picture. So I kind of try to capture the impression of it. So it's a lot about values and the relationships, edges, and how soft or how sharp they are, and how you can change them to convey your idea. So there was a picture I took when I was at Botanic Gardens, and there was like a florist sort of garden there, and of course she was wearing jeans and all sorts of modern clothes, but I quite like the dress idea, so I just changed it to convey my my idea better. So I'm mixing darker shades here, using mostly ultramarine blue and white, and then, you know, to gray the color I can add either a bit of yellow or burnt sienna. So then I'm kind of adding a little bit of shadow here just to create the idea of the folds. So I'm going back here and then applying darker shades on top of this light. So keep the lightest areas on the right of each solid shape. So using the palette knife again, just bring me that texture that I love, and also trying to focus on the, you know, the overall look, the overall forms, instead of getting caught with the detail at this moment. So I'm applying some burnt sienna here. The burnt sienna plays a big role when it comes to having green colors around it. It just makes my greens look more interesting. It shows a little bit of the earth color. So now I'm blocking in the arms and hands, trying to use the overall colors, usually mid-tones, before I bring highlights on it. Painting the background in helps me with that. It just gives me the right contrast. You know, just getting back to the arm and, you know, applying some shadows, warm colors, and trying to get these forms right. So I'm expanding here the palette, the values. Again, thinking about the plane, differentiation, about 3 major values on the arms, and then I will go back and do a little bit more. See how I keep going back to other places, other parts, like the dress, for example. Because when sometimes when you work on one area and it's kind of, you know, getting well developed, you feel like you need to go back to the surrounding areas to work a little bit more, to improve them. And then you can see that things relate well. So it stops you from making, you know, mistakes about values and value relationships. So it's quite important to have the relationship of your shapes right. A painting is a lot about relationships. Relationship in terms of value, how dark or how light an area is in relation to the other. Balance, you know, proportions. To have like the hands in proportion with the face and so on. So I'm getting back to the background and applying a few colors, you know, some pinks and purples, trying to form the clusters of flower, adding some greens, thinking about the edges as well, so I can soften some edges while the paint is still wet. This is an alla prima painting, so everything's pretty much wet, so I can go back and do a little bit more work. I can use even the palette knife to soften some edges and just, you know, smearing the knife very smoothly, just pushing the paint down into the next color. I noticed that what I do with the palette knife, it's actually quite similar to what I would do with the brush. You know, the direction of the strokes, the way I blend the edges, it's just a different tool. So of course, you know, the handling is a little bit different, but the concept, you know, the technique to achieve some final results will be quite similar. Getting back to the arms and exploring those highlights a little bit further. Same with the face. All again. It's all about that light, isn't it? Sometimes it's quite difficult to achieve, you know, the final result in one go. It's not like I paint, you know, all those tones straight away. Quite like layering and then having sort of mid-tone colors first, and then I can layer my highlights. Now getting back to that background again. So I'm kind of laying in some burnt sienna, and then now I'm going to start painting those pink flowers. Sort of layering, thinking about the blocks, you know, the big blocks. And off we go. A bit of dark down here just to create a little bit of depth. and then I will keep working on the background now for a while. Just go a little bit slower here so you can see how I apply the colors and the speed, normal speed. So this is a painting study, and that's one of the paintings of the palette knife series. In that painting is going to be done in a large scale. So this is let's say that this is the color study. So if there is any alteration there, it will be done on the larger painting. I like developing color studies of, you know, some of my paintings, especially those paintings that will become larger pieces, so I can see what that is like, and also I can make decisions about certain things that I need to change for the larger one. So carry on working here on this background, and I will get back to the other areas after I have most of the background covered. I still have lots to do there, and I hope you're enjoying that. And also, if you like this video, remember to subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when I post new videos. And if you like it, why not giving us a like? And you can leave a comment below too. So bringing some of these darker green colors, especially new just to make the highlights there look a little bit lighter by contrast, and also it will give some depth to the deeper areas under the flowers. So getting back to the top here, kind of touching up that hair. Oh, that's cool. Great, I lost edge there. Bit of green. Let's just finish that corner. Then get back to get some of these edges softer. Got a bump there on the arm. Let's trim it off. There we go. Soft edge. Maybe just a little bit more form here, and just keep that hand suggested instead of trying to get it too detailed. It's in the shadow there, so that's fine. A bit of light up here. So there are some trees up here, so I'm just trying to, you know, get the idea of the foliage. To show up there. I took this picture in one of the conservatories in the Botanic Gardens in Christchurch, New Zealand. The room was filled with light coming through its walls. It was beautiful. It's a place that gives me a lot of inspiration. So I really love going there and, you know, gather materials for my paintings. getting some lighter colors on the flowers, as well as the darker shapes, just to get a little bit more contrast and a little bit more texture as well. So keep working on this background and sort of modeling the shapes, adding a few details until I'm happy with it. To be using the brush here just to bring a little bit more form to the hair, and also to soften some edges. To bring a little bit of shadow here to make this part of the hair look a bit more three-dimensional. Yeah, and then moving the part up a little bit more. There we go. I think I'm happier with that. I'm going to bring some reflected colors here, and also that will give a little bit more form to her hair. Just gentle brush strokes, making sure that I don't lose the structure that's there. The contrast there is quite important. Get a few shadow areas here, a few darker areas a little bit better. And then now reflecting colors on the dress as well. Tweaking the shapes. And so on. So I'm happy with that final result. I put a bunch of flowers on her hand. I just thought it was looking a bit weird. So that's the final result. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you liked this video, why not giving us a like? Make sure you subscribe to this channel for all the new updates, and make sure you tap the notification bell so you can be notified on all new videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again. Happy painting!